Hello, everyone. Thank you for RSVPing and for joining us in our actual first series live as a part of our series specifically for higher ed. We're so excited to kind of foray into this group of leaders because what I've learned through a pretty cool listening tour I've been on over the past few months is that particularly women of color leaders in higher ed um, have some opportunities where they would love to be served by an executive coach that can help them with their leadership journey. So I'm super excited today to offer a few tips for 15 minutes. We get on here once a month and we share some leadership tips that may help you with some challenge either that you're experiencing or that you may experience. And let's just give you those tips before you experience them in your journey as a leader. So today is all about setting yourself up for success as the semester starts, particularly as a woman of color executive, starting in a new campus, and all of the effort is around supporting the students, right? New students coming to campus, orientation, preparing syllabus, all of those things. And often we forget about preparing for our staff as they're about to return to campus. And so I thought today we'd spend just a few minutes. I'm going to give 4 tips on how to prepare and set yourselves up for success as leaders when your staff returns to campus. And here's the good part. Even if you're not a woman of color executive in higher ed, you still have some staff coming back to work because they might have been off for the summer or whatever. So these tips hopefully can be applicable to wherever you sit, whatever industry you sit. But today I'm going to focus specifically for our higher ed series on women of color leader in higher ed. Okay, so let's jump right into this content because we try to keep it tight and right, 15 minutes, and then we'll have you on your way. So the first tip is to plan in advance for ways to connect with your team. This is so important for you as a leader to be thinking about how do you want to reconnect? Are you doing a staff retreat? Are you doing some type of social, some happy hour? How are you reconnecting as humans with your team? Because often once the campus opens up, classes start, etc., you all are so involved in the logistics and the energy that it takes to educate and to support students on campus that you forget to connect as humans. You forget to connect as a team. And so it is important for you, particularly right now, it's August, you are about to get started, to take some time and think about, okay, I should have a staff retreat. We have some updates. I want to see how people are doing. I want us to reconnect. And so plan that. Create an agenda, send out an email to your staff, even if you all are still hybrid, and find a way to all come together in some fashion to connect as humans, and as a leader, to share your updates, to share your plans for this school year, to share maybe some updates from the university or from your discipline, right? There might be some new research that you want to talk about. But it is so important. I'm telling you, this is something that often gets missed because you are so busy with all the other meetings. You forget to focus on getting ready for your team. And so before it all begins, please pause and decide how you want to reconnect and bring your team back into the space. So that's the first tip. The second tip is to meet with your boss. And this is one particularly for colleagues across the university setting. You're like, oh, I don't meet with my dean or my provost that often. You know, kind of leave me alone. And there's an allure to that you're not micromanaged by a leader, perhaps, and that's fine. Particularly as you're starting the new academic year, it's so important to have a one-on-one meeting with your direct boss. This allows you to confirm or reconfirm the game plan, the goals, the big picture for the department, for the university, for any aspect, for maybe some cultural nuances that you all want to work on. You can share your vision with them and make sure that they're aligned with what you want to do, right? So again, they are likely out there doing all the things that they have to do in their roles, politically speaking, whatever the case is. but it would not hurt. It actually will help you if you just, even if it's a 30-minute coffee time, to get some time with your boss to just make sure you get some alignment and some confirmation on how things are going to move forward in this academic year. Okay. The third tip is to catch up on what's going on in the landscape in your world, whether or not that's updating yourself on university news. Because check it out, you probably have taken your summer off, rightfully so. You deserve it. You had your head in a book, your feet in the sand, whatever the thing has been that you've enjoyed over the summer, and that's fantastic. As you come back to campus, though, people expect you to be in the know, and so try your best to grab hold of whatever intel you can to know what you missed, what's going on, what's the new direction that the university is taking or that they are continuing on. Check in with your own academic publications, perhaps even your professional organizations, just to get clarity on what's been up over the summer or what new research is out there, et cetera. Because here's the thing, folks expect you to know as the leader. And sometimes you're kind of like, well, why would I know that? I don't know everything. I'm in my world. I'm in my department bubble. But your team expects that you are the road to information university-wide. So in order to make sure that you are showing up confidently and comfortably as an executive in your role, it's important that you know what's going on. So take some time, maybe have a few coffee chats with some folks across the university or even across schools and other locations. You want to know what's going on and have your eye on whatever is the evolving landscape in your discipline, in your field. So that's the third tip. And then the final tip is to woosah. And what I mean by that is to just breathe, right? You are about to go into that really high moment, high energy moment for all campuses across the country, across the world even. And so sometimes, particularly in your role, there's a lot for you to do. And you will find yourself just like running. And you often forget to take care of yourself and just take a moment to breathe. And so my fourth tip for you as an executive in this role that has a lot of demands on you, a lot of people asking you questions, students, parents, faculty, staff, everyone is looking at you for answers. Take a moment, close the door, sip some tea or coffee, a little wine if that's your thing, but just take a moment to breathe and collect your own self. Some folks that I work with, they journal. Some of my clients, they like to take long walks and hike in their area. Whatever it is for you to slow down and breathe and take a moment for yourself, that is so important because I don't want you to get lost in it all. And then you have burnout because you haven't taken time for yourself. So those are my 4 tips. Again, they are so simple. Plan for your team, plan to connect as humans, meet with your boss and get clear on what the game plan is for the year. Find out what's been going on in the landscape while you've taken your break, and then breathe and take care of yourself. Now, hopefully you found this to be helpful. And I also hope that my friends across other industries realize, oh yeah, it is pretty, these are things that I could do in my world as well, right? Again, while I'm focusing on, and the context I'm setting is within higher education, if you're in tech and folks took some time off, you need to start thinking about how are you bringing in the 4th quarter and plan to have a meeting, right? An offsite of some sort. You need to meet with your boss and realign as you close out the fiscal year, right? All these things are transferable and hopefully helpful to you as an executive, regardless of industry. So awesome. I want to pause because I've talked a lot and see if anyone has any questions for me around some of the tips that I've given, or maybe some questions that you have about re-entering and re-engaging in campus. I have one question that I see populated, and it says, what are some good questions to ask when you meet your boss? lots of ways that you can take this. But a couple of questions that I would ask my boss when I came back is, hey, so I know this is where we have been headed as a department. I know this has been your strategic goals, the strategic goal for the department. Has anything changed? Right? Has anything been updated? Any kind of nuanced pivots that I should know about that we need to make within my own team? Right? So that's one question. Anything change that I should know about? The second question is something around, here's what I'm thinking to do this year. Here's what I'm planning to focus on. Any questions or things that you want to weigh in on about my plan? Right? So if you think about it, it's kind of two parts. One, has your plan changed? And anything I need to know about your plan? And two, here's my plan. Anything you want to weigh in about my plan? Those are so important. Those are the first two things. And then certainly I would check in on any political changes within the university, any movements, particularly big leadership movements that are on the horizon or that has happened, any new resources that I may have access to, whether or not that's a new faculty line or staffing line or grant funding or whatever you want to know about resources. So those are some other things I would add if time permits. But the two most important is, what's up with your plan? Is it the same? Anything changed I need to know about? And here's my plan. Are you still aligned with that plan? Awesome. Any other questions for me about setting yourselves up for success as you start this academic year? Let's see. Oh, fun. This is a fun question. What are some of my favorite team building activities when I kick off the year? Oh man, if you know me, I do a lot of leadership development trainings and retreats. And if I don't have a whole kind of toolkit wrapped around me multiple times with activities, I do, y'all. I do. I have books. I have all of that. A couple of my favorites are, one is a simple one, but you learn so much about someone, and it's called The Story of Your Name. And so what you do is you set a timer, and I normally do this to start a session, particularly even if people have been working together for a while. I bet people don't know this point, the story of their name. And so what I would do is I set a timer for 60 to 90 seconds, depending on how much time you have and the number of people that you're going to be speaking to. And everyone has to go around and tell the story of their name in that 60 or 90 seconds. So example for me, I would tell them how my dad was reading a Jet magazine. And in that magazine, there was a story about this famous singing group of 5 brothers. And in that article, it talked about their other siblings, one being LaToya Jackson. And he loved how LaToya was written in print and how it looked in print. And so he decided that his daughter would one day, her name would be in print, and he wanted it to look like that. So that's how it was named after LaToya Jackson. So I literally would do that and have everyone go around. And what you find, you learn so much about people. Some people might tell you about their first name, some middle name, some last name. And you can see the pride in how they share it. You can ask follow-up questions. You can learn about their culture, their family. They're the second child and their sister named them. And what did that mean for them to be named by their older sister? There's so many places you can go with that simple exercise that'll allow people to get to know each other and to build a closer connection with each other across your team. So that's just one example. Like I said, I got a whole bag of them, y'all. But that's one example that I use pretty consistently. Another one I'll sneak in is you could do 30 seconds of asking people what do they love. So you set the timer and they say, I love this, and then you just have to keep saying things that they love for 30 seconds. It's another quick way to get to know folks on your team. And as a leader, you listening in so that you can write down, oh, okay, they're a wine person, or they love their dog. You know what I mean? And during gift giving time or whatever, you now have a laundry list of things that they love. So I'm gonna give you 2. You're welcome. And the cool thing about both of those before I end is you could do that both in person or on virtual platforms. So anyway, I hope that was helpful. I'm going to wrap. Thank you for your questions. If you have other ones, feel free to drop them in the chat or to DM me. Also, if you need more tips or resources, go and check out my website, and I have a downloadable roadmap for leading successfully in higher ed. So go and check that out and download it, and you might find that equally as helpful. All right. It has been a treat interacting with y'all today. Thank you so much. Good luck with the start of the year, and I will see you next month for our next topic. Okay. Bye, y'all.